Today we're going to talk about the information that we need for our chili grow along, which is going to start at the very beginning of February. I sow a few different varieties of chilies each season, and this season we'll be following a variety called Palavec, which is a variety from real seeds. And then I will also be doing varieties such as Lemon Drop, and then also some smaller varieties like Razmadaz or Twilight. During the grow along, we will really be using the variety of Palavec in order to follow the grow along and have a look at the different information. However, if you are wanting to grow a smaller variety that maybe stays inside, maybe you're up north or you don't have a position within the garden that's going to be suitable, then a small variety can be grown inside the house and usually will suit most people. So there's definitely options here. Chilies have a very long growing season and we need to get them started as soon as possible in order for them to have an opportunity to mature. And so we will be starting this grow along with grow lights and a heat source in order to germinate these seeds. If you don't have that available and you want to have a go still, then you could have a look from mid-February or early March, depending on the situation that you're in. As long as the light levels are high enough, so if you have a south-facing window, then you may find that the light levels are high enough without grow lights. We have a few different options for our heat source, so we could use a heat mat, you could also use a heated propagator, or you could use the top of the fridge freezer, will usually generate enough heat for these, or a radiator, or even an airing cupboard. So usually within the majority of houses we will be at a suitable temperature to get these going. So we want around 20 to 25 Celsius and a good consistent heat in order to get these started. If, however, you definitely cannot start these from seed and you are not in the position to do that, then you could look at buying these around April or May time. And I did see some supermarkets actually selling them in September last year, probably because it really was a slow year for a lot of growth, but that is way too late. So do make sure that you have a look around your local garden centre or nursery earlier on, but we don't want to be buying these until after our last frost date. And if you are buying them, then just be aware that those plants are going to be sensitive to the environment that you've bought them from. So allow them to sit in the house and accumulate slowly to the outdoors environment rather than move them suddenly to a very different environment than they were in. Chili seeds definitely do better if they are newer seeds, and in that respect we are going to be sowing them in trays. So you want a tray with holes in the bottom and then another tray just to keep the water from anything else, and we want a humidity dome. I have done a video about different ways of using either recycled materials or different trays that are available and using bags rather than humidity domes. So I'll link that one in to make sure you've got that information rather than you needing to go out and buy all these different supplies. We could also start them individually into a cell tray and then pop one seed into each of these. This is the Charles Dowding 15 tray, and they will do very well and then can be potted on. We're going to be using them in a way that we're going to be pricking them out, but that is an option as well. If you're only sowing one variety, then a pot this sort of size would be perfect in order to sow 5 to 10 seeds in there and then prick them out along with us. If, however, you do have some older seeds, or maybe the germination of the seeds hasn't been great previously, then a little tub or a plastic bag that we can put a piece of kitchen roll in and pop these on the heat mat and germinate them before they go in is another way of doing this. I will cover that within the videos as well, and it's really helpful because these seeds are rather expensive, so we don't want to be wasting our seed. I personally aim to double the amount of seeds that I sow in order for the amount that we're going to want in the end, and then if they all germinate we can give some away or just pop them in the compost, but it makes sure that a lower germination rate is often found on these, so it ensures that we're going to have plenty of plants that we want. We're going to be slowly potting these up then until we get them into their final size pot. This is the size pot that I used last year. That's roughly a 10-litre pot that we want. The different varieties will require different size pots. So if you have a variety that is particularly tall, then it may be beneficial to be in a slightly bigger one, or if it is one of the dwarf bushes, then it may manage a slightly smaller pot. And they're actually quite forgiving in the smaller pots than some of the other plants that we could be growing. For the smaller plants that are being planted into the ground, we're going to look at least a foot between each of the plants. For a larger plant, we could be looking up to 2 foot, but do check out the packet and see what size it suggests that the plant may get to, and that will give us some indication of what needs it may have with pot size or spacing. Once these plants are ready to move outside, and they will be staying inside for the entire time until we are completely past our last frost, they are very tender, sun-loving plants. So we either want to be growing them in an undercover position, a polytunnel or greenhouse, or even some of the little greenhouses that you can buy that'll offer them that little bit more protection and heat. If you are planting them outside, then we really need them to be in as sheltered a position and as sun trap a position as you can find in the garden.